conversations that matter.
This is what I ask. Let me always dwell in the temple of the Lord till I bring my last.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to our episode of INCRadio Chat Line. I am your host for the day, also John Cruz, live here from Rockford, Illinois, here in the district of Great Lakes. Yes, it's nice to see everyone here with us. I'm seeing a lot of people in the live chat today. Actually, we have currently, I don't know how many people. I need to open the link so I can see how many people uh, are actually like watching us. But uh, we do hope that you stick around for our topic discussion. And it's not just me for today. I have some people joining me in the panel. I'm gonna introduce Arnie first. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Arnie. I am live here from Dallas, Fort Worth in Texas.
Yes, hello. Thank you for joining us today. We also have Erica Sonsina joining us as well.
Hey, DJ, joining live from London, UK. Technically, joining live from one of the double-decker buses.
That is our I know our everywhere. She's, she always travels into different places. So you'll hear from them today. We also have I think we also have either one or two more people joining us later on, which we'll introduce them as they uh, join us. But we do want to ask everyone, since our topic is about prioritizing. If you didn't know, so Chatline wants to know for that, and this is not just for I know for our live chat, but also for my co-panelists here. What do you struggle with the most when you're prioritizing? When it comes to prioritizing, what do you struggle with the most?
It's time.
The time, like yeah, I gotta say, like for me, it has to be the same, like or not maybe not the same, but like similar. It's like putting them on a schedule to the point where they don't overlap. A lot of my priorities kind of overlap, which is I know I would say it's one of the struggles with I know with when it comes to prioritizing. How about you, Arnie? I can see you were thinking like when I asked this question.
So for me, I think the hardest is knowing because you do have priorities, but what is something that you must do versus something you would rather do? you know
Ooh.
so of course if it's more fun, I tend to prioritize that, even though that shouldn't be, other, even though I should do what I must do. I don't know if that makes sense, but so you have a whole bunch of stuff you have to accomplish that day. But what do I start off with? Do I start off with the fun stuff that I want to do, or do I start off with the things that have to be done?
Mm. No, yes, oh, we'll get into. I know, we'll get into that as well a little bit later on. But I do wanna address that a little bit. Yes, yes, like I know it's like hard to kind of also, or I guess one of the difficulties as well is like, what would I rather do versus what do I need to do right now?
Hmm.
Like let's say for example, let's give an example that everyone can relate to at some point in their life, like homework, right? You'd rather if we're talking about like homework, you'd rather play, but you need to do your homework when you were I know when you were for us here when we were still in school. It's like the things we'd rather do versus the things that we have to do. So that's just a little bit of a taste of like what we'll be discussing today. Actually, the main question that I do want to ask everyone is like, how do you guys manage your different priorities? Since you did mention time, Erica, you mentioned time. So is it about like let's say So like, what I'm getting from that is that do you time block your priorities? Do you put them on a schedule or something, or no? Oh, she can't hear us right now. Okay. So I'm gonna ask Artie first. Like, how do you manage your priorities?
So it depends on what it is. So if I have appointments and everything, then I will put it on a calendar and slot it for certain hours, especially like if they're calls or if they're meetings that I have to get to. Um, and then after that, the rest I would do mostly with a list. So I have my set schedule of the things that have to be done because I have an appointment with either somebody or it is something that I have to do. And then after that, then I'll go off just a list of all the things that I need to get done. So that's how I normally do it. And like I said, and it also depends on the task that has to be accomplished.
Mhm. No, no, yeah. I'm sort of like on the same boat there when it comes to like managing my priorities. Like one of the things that I do is like put them on a schedule, which makes it like also kind of like difficult to schedule them because I gotta make sure that I schedule them not overlap with each other. But sometimes there are some things that might come up where uh, I'll be like, it's one of the things that I do. I do wanna prioritize, but since it's like sudden, it overlaps with the other things in my priorities, and then it comes into the problem of, well, what are you gonna prioritize first? For
Yeah, and sometimes it's a juggling act because sometimes you already have things planned out and you have things scheduled. But
mm-hmm,
like you said, sometimes last minute things come up, and if that's something that has to be done right away, then you're going to have to learn how to juggle your schedule or your list so that you could still accommodate things that just come up out of the blue.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And also, adding up to that, earlier we were talking about what you'd rather do than what you need to do. One of the things about prioritizing is thinking about what is something that only I can do and what are things that I can delegate. So that's how you prioritize as well. Because, of course, as much as I'd rather do more fun things, but I know that, for example, I gotta do this because no one else can do it for me, then I know that it's like it depends on the day as well. There's like days where you go, okay, let's do things from the easiest task to the more, like challenging ones, or you do the hard tasks first, or not really hard, but more on they're gonna take longer time, and
mm-hmm,
then you do the quick ones at the end. So it really depends as well. As Arnie has mentioned, sometimes there are also like things that you don't expect on the day, so you gotta adjust. So as much as we have priorities and we have schedules, we also are flexible so that we know that you know like expect the unexpected. How you mentioned as well, EJ, when it comes to like scheduling things, you don't go back to back stuff. It's like
mm-hmm,
you do put in between those sort of like breaks or pauses because as much as we want to be, like literally on time with everything, sometimes because things unexpectedly like happen, we just like have a little bit of delays. So yeah, just that.
I love that you brought up delegation as well, which is something that I had to. It's something that I had definitely had to learn to do. I know there was a point in time where I tried to do everything that, like everything that needed to be done. Like if, let's say, it's not that I didn't delegate, but if it's not done at if it wasn't done at like the deadline that I set, like I would pick it up myself and I would do it. I would do it myself. But then, like, I love that you brought up delegation as one of the things that you can do when it comes to priorities. That and there are things that only that maybe only you have the, like right now only you have the ability, the skills to know to handle. But if it's something that like especially if you're working with a team, if it's something that your team can also like handle, or someone in your team can handle, like definitely be able to to delegate those tasks as well. Although this applies more this applies more to the more team based like things that you might be doing, but on like the personal level, I guess delegation also works a little bit, like when you can ask for help for from your friends, your family as well. So I guess it does apply to that. Actually, I forgot to ask this to you guys first, before this one. Like in your in the current stage of your life, what would you say are like your clear priorities right now? Like what do you prioritize in this stage of your life?
Well, for me, I'm fortunate because I'm just by myself, so I don't have to worry about others or anything else. So my priorities are whatever schedules I have. So um, I don't have a set like, okay, every single day I have to do this, or like one of my priorities should be, hey, every day I should work out, right? But because I'm only um I'm by myself, then hey, if I want to work out I can. If I don't, then I don't have to. So
Mhm.
um that's a thing for me. Like usually the only times I do priorities right now is when I have to do stuff for work. Because in my personal life, I think I'm at a point where I just go with the flow. Whatever happens, happens. But work, you can't do that. With work, you really have to have your priorities set straight.
So I guess like for you right now, like a clear priority is like your work, since you know like what you need to accomplish, like in your uh I'm gonna call it career. I'm gonna call it career in your career.
So okay, now I got it. Okay, I do have priorities that I do set, right? But they're all travel related. So because I've already done a lot in life. So, I've gone to school, I've got my degree, I have my career. So
Mm.
now my thing is to actually live life. So one of my goals is to hit all 50 states in the United States, and then,
Oh.
hit possibly every continent in the world, and go see the wonders of the world, things like that. So I do have priorities when it comes to that, on what my first goal is of all those bucket list items, I guess.
Those wish list, right? The different things that you have. I don't I don't know what to call them, but yes, those are the certain things that you want
I don't like to call it wish list. I like to call it to do list,
to do list.
because
Yeah, your to do
sometimes,
list. There you go.
yeah, because sometimes when you say wish list, even though it may be a wish, it's a little bit more far fetched. But at least if you say it's a to do, then you're going to do everything you can to make sure you get it done somehow.
Yeah, and to be honest, wish list makes me think of like online shopping. Like maybe those things that you're like you bookmark them, so you're like, well, once I have a little bit more disposable income, I'll buy them.
But okay, I know it's going to be a tangent, but sometimes I do like to put stuff like in a cart, because my sisters and I, we're going off of one account, and so when they see stuff there, they're like, "Oh, who wanted that?" I'm like, "I did," and then somehow I get it without me having to purchase it.
I don't know that you can. I don't know that you can do that. It feels like, but like putting stuff in your cart is sort of, I guess, a little bit like the online version of window shopping. Yeah, I'm just, I don't know. I'm just trying. I'm just gonna try this on. Right? It's like the, I know, it's like the online version of window shopping. But yeah, it's so we gone up on a tangent there. But I would say, yeah, travel is also, I know, like if traveling is what you kind of like want to do, that's what you not, I wouldn't say prioritize, but it's why you prioritize the things that you prioritize. But like you mentioned earlier, the things that you want to do versus the things that you have to do. So you're prioritizing the things that you have to do to be able to do the things that you want to do.
Yeah,
So,
because like I said, to me, I think I've accomplished a lot of things already in life. So since I've done those, now it's time to move forward and do something else, you know?
mhm,
But yeah, I mean, like if I was in an earlier stage of my life where I needed to go to college, get a degree and all that, at that time, that was my priority. But since those are done, I've got the job that I want, then now it's like, what do I need to prioritize to actually live life?
mm. Actually, how about you, Anna, Erica? I don't know if you can answer, but like I know for you, you're in a different stage of your life from Arnie. So, like for you, what's your what do you sort of prioritize right now? I don't know if she can unmute herself. Or...
All right,
oh,
I'm getting off the next stop, so just FYI. I guess like for me, my priorities are, of course, like family and then my career, which I'm paving, and of course, as members of the Church of Christ, my duties. So first off is my duties, and then like family, career, like friends, and actually like joy. I'm into like hobbies as well because technically it's one of those things that you don't, whilst growing up, you don't think it's a priority, but when you're an adult, you're really like, you really consider that as one of your priorities.
your hobbies. No, I do want to Anna. I do want to add a little more to that as well. Like for me, well, one of the clear priorities that I do have right now is like actually finding a job that I can make into a career. So it's like a job that I think maybe I'll, like a job that would be stable, would be something that I also enjoy doing, so that I wouldn't mind doing, or at the very least something that I wouldn't mind doing, for in the foreseeable future, right? That because I know like the things that I do want to. So this is now the priorities that fall into like the want category as opposed to the have to. It's like I don't know if I told this, and this is like kind of like one of the more recent interests that I've taken up. Is like, I don't, do you guys know what dioramas are?
Yes.
Very little, I know. Yeah, it's like I, like I recently been wanting to make those, and I know it can be a little pricey to do those. So it's like for me, like there's of course there's like things that I also need to accomplish. Like first, like I said, I need to find a job that I can consider into a career, maybe finally getting myself my own vehicle, so I'm not borrowing my brother's, and then also saving up for what may come up in the future. But there's definitely also the ones as well. Hobby also, like what Erica said, as you become an adult, like hobby can also like your hobbies uh can also be in like it's there's definitely a space for it like in your priorities, right? Because now like when you have the purchasing power, you have the power to buy like things that you may not have been able to afford when you were a kid. You can definitely like delve more into like what you were interested in as a kid. Like here's an example, like if you're into music, maybe as a kid you couldn't afford like really um like high quality like musical instruments, right? But now that you're an adult, you're able to, maybe you can save up a little bit to like you have the ability to save up and buy those essentially. So it it definitely is like I would say because when you say priorities, people might think like the first things that definitely do come in minds, of course, like your family, your like your career, what or whichever. But I do want to say like there's also like hobbies also fall into that, right? That's if travel is your is one of the things that you wanna do. That's definitely also a priority. But I did kind of notice that we struggled a little bit on defining those priorities. Or did you guys struggle? Like, is it hard to define priorities? Like when even when you're like say by yourself, you're just thinking about it. Is it hard to define priorities for you?
Well, I guess in simple words, priority is something that you would put first.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite understand. There was like a little bit of a noise on the
Hello, can you hear me?
there's like a little bit of like a noise.
No, I mentioned that in simple words, it would be something that you would put first.
Mhm. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
so like for me, when I do, like when I make my list, I go through the list and then I say, okay, what is most urgent and what is things that have to get done, and then I would grade them like one, two, and three. One's all the important stuff. Two is the stuff that yes has to be done, and then three is the stuff that maybe can be done or maybe could be put off for the next day. And then once I go through one, two, and three, then I'll rearrange them and make sure all the ones get done and then get all the twos and then the threes. And if I don't have time for the threes, then it's okay because it can still be put off until the next day.
I should wanna ask you on that because like it's say like for me one of the things that made it difficult for me to define because that there are like you said but there's are important things but there's also things with a deadline,
Yeah.
like
So
time I know time what do you call it time
time
priorities with
restraint.
time limit
Yeah.
or a time constraint, yeah,
So
like a
those are more what we call urgent stuff. So things that have to be done urgent that have a time constraint, then of course you're going to do that. Unless your timeline is, oh, you have a week to get this done, then that technically won't be a priority because you do have a week. And I'm very bad because I'm a procrastinator. So even in school, when they said, hey, you have this assignment, you have 2 weeks to do it, I would have it on my list, but I had 2 weeks. So guess what? I did it the day before it was due. But, because at the time when I made my list, it wasn't urgent because I had two
Mhm.
weeks. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah, I know. I get you on that. I wouldn't say I'm like this. Like I wouldn't say I did it like the night before or the day before the project was due, but definitely, sometimes I would like it would slip my mind, and I would panic every time. Every time I remember it, like, oh, I have a project due in a week. like I have to get started on this now, or I'm not gonna make it.
See, for me, it's not really I forget. I know it's due. And so I'll say, oh, it's okay. I have time. I have time. And so as long as I know I have time, then I'll just do it when I can. And what I noticed also, and I don't know if this is good advice or not, but anytime I procrastinated and did it the night before, I got a better grade. And then when they gave us a week to do it and I did it early, it wasn't that great. And I think because I work well under pressure, so having the pressure there uh, just, I think, worked for
Mm.
me. And so since I got better grades at the last minute, then I would just procrastinate and do everything
I
right
mean, it's
before school.
definitely. I wouldn't. It's an advice I wouldn't give to everyone, but I know it applies to I know to like some people. Like some people, yes, like you said, Tammy, some people work well under pressure, so that pressure kind of pushes them to like to really uh to sound like my brother to lock in, and
And
no,
that's another thing. You have to know yourself, because if you
mm,
know yourself, then you know what you're capable of. So I knew I was capable of putting things off for the last minute and getting it done. But if some people can't work under pressure like that, then no, that's not something that they should do. And that's why when you make a list, of some kind, that's going to help you prioritize. Okay, what really needs to get done, what's really important, what's not important, that can be put off at a different time. And it's okay not to finish all the tasks at one time, because like I said, if there are things that are not as important that can be done on a different date, then that's okay. And I think you have to have that mentality where, oh, it's okay, if I don't get it done, as long as I get it done eventually, things like that. You have to be forgiving. You can't beat yourself up because, oh my gosh, I had 10 things to do today and I only got 8 done.
mm. No, and actually, when you mentioned that, like, it kind of made me think of, like, because that's how I do, like, things. I could say, for the example we gave earlier, like, diba, for a school project, diba? Like, for me, I try to do it bit by bit. So if, like, maybe, like, today I'll finish my outline for it. Then maybe in a couple of days I'll start gathering my materials that I'll need for that project, and then a couple of days later I'll get started on the project, and then just continuously just keep working on it until I do get to a point where, like, okay, I need to complete this. I need to complete this now. But like what you said, you have to know yourself. You have to know what you're you are capable. What you're capable of doing. If you're not capable of, like, working under the pressure and being able to complete it under the pressure, then don't do that. Don't do that. Don't procrastinate until the last minute. If you know that you need more time to work on different projects, then do that. Actually, Nathaniel Russell, Nathan said that for him, he only procrastinates if he's the only one affected, but everything else he tries to deliver early. And I gotta say, it's like, when if it's in the same way that if it's for someone else, I feel like I need to like, I try to get it done earlier than they need it. Like, if it's for someone else, but if it's like, if I'm the only one affected by it, it's not that I don't, it's not that I procrastinate. Procrastinate?
Procrastinate.
Procrastinate. What is it? It's not that I procrastinate, but it's like less. It feels less urgent if I'm the only one affected. So
Yeah, and
I
that's
can
why,
do.
like I said, you have to know yourself first of all, and then second of all, you have to know the task that has to get done,
Mm,
or what you want to accomplish. Because once you have those, then it's easy to set priorities. Especially, like I said, if it's urgent, then you know you're going to get it done right away. And if it's something that can be put off, then you could put it off for another time.
mhm. No, no, yeah, definitely. Sorry, I was looking at one of our live chatters asking us what we're talking about today. We're talking about, no, we're talking about priorities in today's show. Actually, I do kind of want to ask you, Arnie, like, we discussed earlier, like, in terms of, like, your clear priorities right now, but how would you say your priorities have changed throughout the years? And more so, how did you handle those shifts in your priorities?
Okay, so when I was in college, my priority was to get it done as quickly as possible because I left home to go to college, and when you do that, there was expenses involved, and so I pretty much put myself through college because my parents had 6 kids to raise, and it wasn't feasible for them to assist me with university. So I had to make it a point where, okay, I have a set time. I need to get this done in this amount of time because, um, you know, I have to get a job eventually if I'm going to support myself. So it was different back then. And then once I had my career, or I thought was going to be my career, then my priorities were differently, where okay, now it's time to buy a car, get a house, and everything like that. And
Mhm.
then I decided to switch careers. And then when I switched careers, I'm okay. So I could put things off for a bit. And then I moved to Texas from California. And those priorities also changed because when I first got here, it was just get settled in, figure out how things are going to work. And then I had an apartment at the time, I had a car. But after a while, I was like, okay, so I already have my apartment, I have my car, I have my job. What's next? So last year, my goal was, okay, it's time to get a house. And I accomplished that. So that's done. And so, like I said, now my priorities are different because I have a house, I have a car, I've got the job that I want. So now my only priority left is to live life, try to spend time with my family, go different places I haven't been to. Um, and find new hobbies that I can possibly do since sometimes I do have a lot of time on my hands.
Uh, like you, I like the I love that you mentioned those things. It's helping me like refocus like my own priorities. And it's reminding me of like my own reasons as well for I know for setting those uh, priorities. Like I mentioned earlier, for me now it's finding that like that stable job that I can turn into a career. Like also, I know it's like trying to be not independent, but trying to be able to help like my parents as well. This like just in terms of like of course finding a job, saving up, getting myself a car because those are the things that I don't have, like things that I don't have yet. So those are like right now for me, like those are also things that I are in the things that I need to get. I need to get for myself, right? And yes, throughout the years, like those priorities do change. I think for elementary, my or, not, or elementary slash into going into high school as well. I think I prioritize like being sociable more. Not that I didn't focus on my studies, but one of the things back then, like for me, is that I was so shy to talk to people. So I made it like my priority to at least make a couple of friends, like in every grade level. When it did like step more into like mid the later years of like high school going to college, like studies definitely took a more forward more forward uh like or what's the right word, like in terms of priorities, took the it took more priorities to focus on what I'm studying. So and it kind of did that too to because one of the things that my mom does want me to be able to do is to finish college. That's one of her dreams for me. So like it made it like my priority to finish college as well. I haven't finished it per se. Because I'm still finding like a major that I enjoy and switch majors a couple times. I don't think I've found one yet that I uh that I would want to stick with. Yeah.
So I don't know if this is going to help you any or not, but I know people struggle with the whole finding a major.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes when you're looking for jobs or whatever, sometimes they don't really look at what you majored in. Sometimes they just look to see if you had the college degree because there's some people who is not even using the major that they majored in. For instance, when I first I majored in communications with emphasis in public relations. So the first year after college, I was actually doing public relations. And then after that, it kind of got in the way of life. So then I decided to find other jobs. But just the fact that I had a degree was all they were looking at, because I had
Mhm.
other jobs that had nothing to do with public relations. So a lot of and I have a lot of friends who majored in different things, but that's not the way their career path takes, you know?
Mhm.
So I I would like to say don't stress so much on trying to figure out what you want to major in. Find something that interests you, get a degree if that's what your goal is to do. But if sometimes you focus too much on a major, then that hinders you. Like unless, let's say, you really want to go into medicine, then yes, you have no choice. You have to major in something like that.
Mhm.
But if you don't have like a set path, um, pick a major that interests you and stick with that and get a degree.
So yeah, like 'cause even for my mom, it's like she didn't really specify like a major that she wants me to. So she's just like you finish like a major at something at college. So it's and so it's definitely I know it's definitely somewhere there in my priorities. Although right now it's more so being able to save up for whatever I might need it for, and then in uh, in the future. But actually, I want to ask you as well, uh, Arnie. It's like when you're like, because you're also managing different priorities. Has how has managing priorities like helped you or affected you like personally? Like, has it helped you? Has it made things more difficult for you to accomplish?
No, I think for me, when I do my list and I set my priorities and then I accomplish them, it actually makes me feel better because, like, oh, look, I had all these things I had to do. I actually finished it. So that gives me a little bit more of a positive outlook on life.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I'm at an age now where I know I have priorities. I know I have things to do, but I've learned to let go a little bit that, hey, if I don't finish it, it's okay. Life is not going to be over. You always have tomorrow. And so I think with having that mentality, one, it took the stress out of my to do list. And two, it made me a little bit more open to changes because before I was your typical, okay, these are all the things I need to do. It has to be done. It has to be done a certain way. And there's no way anyone else is going to do it because they can't do it the way I want to do it. That's how I used to be. And I remember it used to stress me out all the time because if I didn't finish all my tasks, I would stress out. Or if, let's say, EJ, here, can you do this for me? And you do it, yet you don't do it the way I want you to do it, then I'll stress out. So I've learned to be a little bit more accepting and I've learned to let things go. As long as it gets done, it doesn't matter how it gets done. And it doesn't matter that I did it or you did it as long as a task got done. So losing that control, I think, is a big deal. And it's made, for me, I think it's made my life a little bit more positive because I notice every time people complain about they're so busy, they have no time for anything, I think to myself, why are they stressing? I get that we only have 24 hours in a day, but guess what? There's still tomorrow. If it's not going to kill you or it's not going to harm anybody, put it off for tomorrow. That's okay. It doesn't all have to be done today. So,
Mm-hmm. No, that definitely. And one of the things that would help with that, I would say, the moment you say, when people say, "Oh, I don't have enough time to, I know, to do this, to do that." I mean, there is. It's just a matter of like scheduling it and following the schedule. Like scheduling it is one thing. Following the schedule is another. It's another
yeah,
thing.
that is so true.
Because you can be like, okay, I'll set aside time to like maybe one of the things I want to do is, oh, I want to scroll through my phone, catch up with like my friends on social media, like say let's set 30 minutes for that. And but like that's what you put in the schedule, 30 minutes, but then you take up 2 hours. So in those 2 hours, what are the things or the other tasks that are scheduled, things you have, or the other priorities you have scheduled that have to be moved back? So it's like it's one thing to put them on the schedule. It's another to
To
adhere.
actually do them.
Yeah, it takes a little bit of self discipline to actually adhere to no, to that schedule that you do set. For your, like it's only like scheduling it is only the first step. To,
Yeah, and when you said discipline, that is important because like I said, if you put things on the schedule, you have to have the discipline to do the things that have to get done first. Because I'm the type that will do the things that I want to do first and the fun stuff, whether or not it's important. But you do have to learn to discipline yourself to say, hey, this task may not be fun, or this thing that has to get done may not be fun, but it does have to get done. So you have to discipline yourself to make sure you do it and not just put it off for the fun stuff.
yeah, definitely. Because like say here, let me put it into an example. If your friends invite you to go to a bowling alley, or let's go. They're like, oh, let's go bowling, right? But let's say if you're not working, you don't have your own, you don't have your own money, you don't have your own funds to maybe to hang out with them, to go to, like, let's say to go out to eat with them. You don't have your own funds. Well, what do you need then? You need to find a job so you have your own money, right? Like the job might not be something that you enjoy doing, but you do it because you want to be able to afford to go out and have fun doing with your friends. So the priority is like your priority is your friends, but you also prioritize work because it's what helps you afford what you want. Like it helps you afford the things that you do want, right? The priorities that you do, that the priorities that fall into the want category. Right?
And I do have to agree with you on that because when I was younger, I wanted to go different places. And like I said, my parents had 6 kids. There's no way they're going to be able to afford to send us all on different trips.
Yeah.
So I would get random jobs. I would save up enough money and then I would resign, go do what I needed to do, and then go get another job somewhere else. And then once I had enough money, resign, and then go do the things I wanted to do. And that one really helped me because it showed me different workforces and then it kind of gave me a direction of what I want to do. Do I want to work for this toy company forever? Do I want to work in an office setting? Do I like the ones where I'm not in an office? And so I've learned that I cannot sit at a desk job. That just drives me crazy. So after that job, then I started getting jobs where I was either on the road doing sales or I was doing education. So I wasn't literally sitting at a desk, but I got to teach. I got to travel to do different things. So, having the different jobs helped me. And that was because I had priorities. My priorities was to have fun. So get a job, have fun, get another job, have fun again.
No, I don't know how easily it would be for me to I know to be able to do to do just that. But definitely it's no one of those things. But uh, actually, there's another question here that I saw that I did want to I did want to ask you because it kind of fell into like what you were saying, Arnie. Is your what you prioritize, like what you prioritize, how, like what connection does it have with what you value? Let's say because what you value is like being, like right now you said having fun, being able to travel, that might be what you value. Like how is that, does that connect to what you prioritize? What's
So
your
sometimes what you value and priorities may not be the same.
Mm,
because if it's work related, so that might not be something that you value. Maybe you value family more, or maybe you value your other church responsibilities more. But when it's something that has to get done with your job, then it still has to get done. So I don't think priorities and what you value always coincide. Sometimes it's one of those where the things you have to do versus the things that makes you happy or have fun. You know what I mean?
mm,
So it's not everything is, hey, I just want to travel, so that's going to be my priority. Sometimes there's other priorities that will beat my having to go places, you know? So um for me, when I do priorities, it's really about what is urgent and what is important that needs to get done,
mm.
not necessarily, oh, look, my thing right now is to travel the world. So if it doesn't fit in that category, I'm not going to do it. That's not how I work. So mine really is about what's important, what needs to be done, get those done, and then you can do the rest of the stuff that you want to do for fun.
'Cause, yeah, like what you kind of like what I'm getting from that is like the things that you value is like more like a it's more like the reward for doing the priority first, or the things that you have to do first. The one like you're working so you can afford to so you can afford to travel. You can't just be like, oh, I want to travel, so I'm just gonna travel travel.
and
Like that,
and
right?
and for me, I like to be known as being reliable. I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to be known as that person that flakes all the time. I want to be known as I'm reliable. So when it comes to priorities, that's something I do look at. If someone's counting on me to get this done, then yes, I will do it, because I'm going to be the type that's going to be reliable, that if you called on me for help, I would be there to help you. So I mean, that kind of is what pushes my prioritization, I think.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think Nathan actually answered like something similar to that about like when it comes to others, he tries to deliver it earlier. I think it kind of falls into that same mindset of like wanting to be seen as reliable as well, right? And actually, he did have another answer. He said, "At this point, I've been fortunate to be stable in my career, so I can prioritize church." So for Nathan, his priority is like his duties in the church. And I do want to say that for me, I want to be able to reach that point as well. You just reminded me another one of my priorities that I do wanna get to. And actually, lastly, like just before we end up, I just wanna ask you this one last question as well for our team there in live chat. Like, what disciplines that you learned being a member of the English Christ or the Church of Christ. Like, what are the things that you've learned that help you in maintaining your priorities?
First, I think having the good moral compass, where you do everything that needs to get done, but you do it in a manner that is the right way. Like, you don't go and cheat around it.
Mm,
I think that that's one thing that's helped. And I think having some kind of hope or faith kind of a thing, that helps me with my priorities, because like I said, even if I don't get things done, I know it's okay. I know that eventually we will get it done. And just having a positive outlook on life gives you a better understanding and a better concept of what priorities are.
mhm,
So even though I say, yes, I do want to go have fun, I do want to travel, it's not just to go places. A lot of times, it is to go and visit my friends who can't have the luxury of coming home to visit when they want because of their responsibilities. So that's what I do. I'll go visit them instead. Or it's to go and meet other brethren, see what it's like to live in different parts of the world. So it's not necessarily, oh, I just want to go to this country for fun. It's, that is a majority of it, but there's also the aspect of seeing how different things are in other places. And I think that helps you become a little bit more well rounded, so that you learn how to deal with priorities, you learn how to prioritize different things, and then not be so stressed when you have to do things like that.
Mhm. No, I don't know, definitely, and in that regard as well. But and for me, it's yeah, like you said, but there's like just a positive, more positive, or like not positive, hopeful. There's a more hopeful, like outlook. Like even for me right now, I know that like right now I'm struggling to find a direction to go, but I know that I can, like I know that there's a point where I'll be able to figure that out as well, and I know that whichever path there is for me, like in the future, would be for the best, for the best for me.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I think I've learned is to accept things, where for me I see now that there's a reason for everything. Sometimes we don't understand why we take certain paths and why our life is the way it is, but in the end, when you look at the bigger picture, then you understand, oh, I had to be at that point to learn certain things, or I had to because everyone wants to be a millionaire, everyone wants to do all those kinds of stuff, right? But sometimes it's not in our it's not what's meant for us, because maybe it will
Letting
take.
go of control, right? Like
Yes, because sometimes it might take us in a path that we shouldn't be going. So I've learned to accept the fact, I've learned to, where they say, hey, trust God with everything. I've actually, learned how to do that, because before, I was like, oh, I want this, I want this, I want this. But now I've learned to trust and say, hey, whatever happens in life, I've learned to accept it, and learned to live that life, and not look at everybody else's life and say, oh, look, I want that too, like that keyboard behind you. I'm like, oh, look, I want a keyboard, and if I don't have a keyboard, that's okay.
yeah, right now that's like more of a prop. I need to find like a replacement for the wire to actually switch it on. So that's more or less a prop right now. But, yeah. It's, but yes, that in no, like uh, what was I trying to say? Letting go of letting go of that that trying to control how things will go. Like you can have. Like, I'm not saying that you shouldn't have. Uh, you shouldn't have a goal. That's why you prioritize, because you have a goal. You have a goal to meet, but realizing that it's not a straight path. It's not even a path that you can just control, because there will be aspects that you don't expect that will come up. The important part now is to trust, right?
And
To,
it's learning to adapt, because like you said, you may have goals, you may have things you want to do and get done, but sometimes, like you said, it will be a different path, but eventually you'll get there. But you have to learn to trust that everything will work out at the end the way it's supposed to.
mhm. Yes, no, definitely. But trusting that that whatever comes up, whatever will come up for you in the future. It's like it's for the best possible future for you to be at. It's like but you have to learn to let go of that control and to trust. But you should have priorities, because you have a goal, but you need to be at the what's the term that Erica used earlier? Flexible. You have to be flexible.
Hmm.
You have to be adaptable to those changes that will happen. But it might not go the way you expect it to go, but
Or the way you planned it.
or yeah, the way you plan it.
Yeah.
But that shouldn't stop you from prioritizing. It shouldn't stop you from trying to accomplish those different things that might be in your wants,
Mhm.
it might be in your wants to accomplish. So you put these priorities. So that shouldn't stop you from from doing that, but also learning to adapt as well to those changes that will occur. And like you said, don't stress too much about that. Don't stress too much about the house. That not the house, okay, the how of how it will happen. Just be open to those changes. Actually, is there anything you want to add just before we close off today's topic?
No, I think that's it. Like you said, be adaptable, um, and just accept, be happy with what you have, because that way, no matter what, you're always going to be content.
Mm. And yes, just before we do close up, I want to thank Arnie for joining me today. And earlier we had Erica joining us as well. I know she's busy, so she could only drop by for a little bit. But I know we do appreciate Erica joining us a little earlier. And to everyone there in our team live chat, thank you for joining us in our conversation today. And if you're just learning about the English and Crystal the Church of Christ, we do encourage you to learn more through our different programs here on INC Radio. Or you can also check our directory at directory.iglesianicristo.net to find the nearest local congregation in your area. And trust me, with thousands of different locales, you will find one near your area. And before we do close off the show, we do want to say our special thanks to Brother Angelo Eranio V. Manalo, our CEBSI President and CFO Coordinator, and to Brother Eduardo V. Manalo, our Executive Minister, for making shows like Chatline possible. And we'll see you again in the next episode of INC Radio Chatline. And let's continue to have conversations that matter. Have a great weekend, everyone.
This is what I ask.
Bye-bye.
Let me always dwell in the temple of the Lord till I bring my last.
Looking for more conversations that matter? INC Radio Chatline, Fridays at 8 p.m. Pacific or 11 p.m. Eastern at INC Radio DZEM 954 on YouTube.